feel like a change now, painting so many of these garden scenes with figures in them. I thought I'd like to do a landscape. We've got the snow coming down and the frost about. Just to refresh a bit, rather than keep doing the same old things and become a bit stale, much as I enjoy them, we'll have a go at this landscape. And it's not far from here, but the snow's just been falling across a ploughed field, and we've got the light shining in bands across the fields and the ploughed field in the distance. And the beautiful thing about these skies here, a bit like Holland, we have these lovely big luscious cloudy skies. So that's what we're going to make the most of with soft unison pastels. That's these pastels. We'll use some of these, and straight onto the paper, blocking and blending, the old English method, so it'll be very rapid and very direct, and I hope great fun. I'm not going to draw it out, just a very little bit of light chalk to start with, just to show where I'm going to be working, and then straight in with the colour, blocking and blending.
And here's my selection of unison pastels in their box. It's a choice I've made over many years, and find I can make these colours suit almost anything I want to paint. The only colours I tend to add to these are some inscribed pastels, which are much cheaper but have very bright garish colours, and those can be very useful indeed for flowers.
Okay, we've got our unison pastels ready. I've got a tin of beer ready, keep myself going in between, and our paper and our photographs. So let's take a very light coloured pastel and just mark out. We use a very light grey for the moment. Just mark out where we want things. Now, on here on the photograph, that's halfway. Just lightly mark the photograph so I know where I'm going. If we look at the photograph, that's halfway, that's a quarter. So if we mark the paper the same, that's halfway, that's a quarter. So approximately a quarter down, all the way across here, we're going to have our horizon line. That gives us plenty of room for a nice big sky. And looking at this, trees, halfway, just about halfway. I looked at this earlier and thought it's sometimes unwise to have something exactly on a halfway, but we're going to have this house almost exactly on the halfway, just here. And that means there's a load of trees going on behind it, to about there, back down to here. To work on the horizon first, on some of those deeper areas of cloud. There's some quite dark areas going on back here. A nice deep purple mauve going on behind the woodland there. The first thing I've got to do is block and blend. I've got to get rid of this texture, which I don't like. This I should really use to the side of the pastel paper, because this is the orange peel side that I'm not really that keen on, even though that's the side the name's on, which usually denotes the working surface. It does have a watercolour paper. On the watercolour paper, if you've got the name of something there, like Bockingford or Waterford, that will mean that's the side you're supposed to work on. I'm going to blend it in at first and make it quite a dead colour, and I'm going to come back and work onto it. This isn't a standard size I work on, being as it's a piece of sugar paper, an entire sheet of proper pastel paper. It's not a standard template that I use for my mount, so I'll have to cut a mount for this one if I finish it and I'm happy with it. Let's just try out one or two colours all the way across and round here, just feeling our way to try and get the right colours. Yes, I really don't like the surface of this paper at all. I would have been better off on the other side of it, I can see. I don't like the orange peel effect at all. We can blend these colours and merge them as we go along. This is why I take the papers off, so that I can work across the side of the pastel as quickly as possible to block in areas and not have to pussyfoot about with the tip of the pastel. So I'm just mixing up the base colours on my paper at the moment. And we'll work other colours over the top as we go along. And it kills it, because pastels work by the fact that you're using very tiny crystals of pastel. The pigment is in crystal form, it's like a very fine powder, and when you put it on nice and fresh, it sparkles and catches the light. But when you blend it, it smudges it, it smooths it down, it kills it, it takes away that sparkle. So we can put on our first coats like this, but our final coats want to be nice and bright and light, and literally the last coats. I'm just getting rid of the paper at the moment to find my working surface. Just establish these colours for the moment. Very deep blues. If I start with my pastel wide, I can twist it so that it goes narrower and comes up into the thinner triangle look. And I can use the texture of the paper now to get some of the effect of this, so I will use it on, of this plough. So it's not a brown ploughed field, it's lots of other colours as well. In this case we've got the purple, the brown and the deep blue going in to get the effects first of all. And we just work these little bits back until it blends into the texture of the paper, makes it look like distance. There are a variety of grey cools going along here, so I've got to gradually work these blues up. And just begin now to see how we can build this up. I'm blending in these fluffy cloud effects one into another. Stronger in places again than others. These lovely turquoise blues now can certainly give you the effects that you're looking for with the blues. Just scumbling slightly, let's not overdo it. Sunlight shining across the field. Using a blue in the distance, we could use a bright green, we'll come to those stronger colours at the very end. We're keeping to the blues in the distance, which is always the best way to start off. We know that the atmosphere should give us a blue in the distance. So we're getting the different layers of cloud now. Against the cools and the warms. Bits of frost and snow on the texture of the paper. It goes back. Quite a complicated little picture, and all these details are going to be a problem, but I'm not worried about that too much yet. And the sunlight's just catching those trees a little bit there, making that warm, that brown, a little browner on that edge. With perspective a little bit, because I suspect our central vanishing point is going to be somewhere around there. We can bring some lines out from there, giving the effect of a little bit of perspective. Even back to the almost slightly pink colour that's just coming over these trees here.